Is homemade whole wheat pasta a taste revelation or is it a total letdown? Well, I am Amy from A-Red Spatula and I am here to convince you of just how good it can be. Now don't worry, I have tried all the techniques and dealt with all the disappointments so you don't have to. Also, don't forget to subscribe, of course, you don't want to miss any of my new videos that are coming out. Now, as always, if you have questions or comments, drop them in the comments section below. Now, first, I want to start with flours. We are going to do two different types of flour in our pasta. Of course, you can do a few more, but two is what I'm going to show you today. The first is semolina flour, which comes from durum wheat, and then the second is a whole wheat flour. This is a blended pasta mix. I'm going to do another one with 100% whole wheat flour, but for this one, I wanted to do a mix. Now, the whole wheat flour that you can use, there are quite a few options. You can use red or white wheat. You can also use spelt, works really well, or kamut. But today I'm going to show you with a sprouted wheat flour. So let's roll up our sleeves and go ahead and get started. So what we're going to do is we put our two flours out on our surface. This is the whole wheat flour, and again I used a sprouted flour, and then our semolina and our salt. And then we're going to mix this together. You can do it with a fork, you can do it with your hand in this beginning part. And once it's really well mixed together, what we're going to do is form a well right in the middle of it. In the pasta making class that we took in Rome, they said to make it look like the Colosseum. I think that that's a good little visual. So create this well, and then we're going to add in our eggs. And then we're going to mix this with a fork, and you want to make sure that the eggs are well mixed in the center of the well. And once it's mixed pretty well, what we're going to do is we're going to start bringing in some of that flour from the outside, and it's just a little bit at a time. We don't want to break through the walls of this Colosseum or well that we have created. And we want to mix, once that flour is brought in, we want to mix it pretty well before we add in more. And you can see what it looks like in this next frame. After it's been mixed pretty well, there's not a lot of lumps in it or clumps in it. It's pretty smooth. And then we're going to continue working as we bring in more flour from the outside. And then once a lot of it's mixed in, we're just going to bring everything in, basically. You take your fork and you scrape it up and over the moist bits of the dough in the middle. We're going to keep working this with a fork for just a little bit, and then we're going to switch and we're going to start using our hands, and this is where we start kneading. This is probably the most time-consuming part of it, and I guess maybe the part that people don't like very well. I actually think it's really soothing. Pasta is a slow food. It's meant to be enjoyed, so don't do this on a busy weeknight when you have a lot of things going on. This is the perfect weekend project, or I don't know, working with your family or your spouse or your significant other or just friends. We're going to start kneading this, and you can see it's pretty sticky. You want whole wheat pasta dough to be a little bit stickier than what normal dough is. And once you get to this point where all the flour, if you need to, you can add more flour, you can add more water, just depending on what it feels like. It should feel a little bit sticky on your hands though. You're going to knead this until it's not smooth, but fairly smooth. It usually takes me about 3 minutes to get to this point. Once you get to this point, we're going to cover it and let it rest for 5 to 10 minutes. This will hydrate your whole wheat flours, and it makes them so much easier to work with. Here we are at the end of the time, and we're going to finish the kneading process. This will probably, and you might notice, of course, as whole wheat absorbs a lot more moisture, that it's going to be a little bit drier. Now we cover it, we wrap it, we cover it. I didn't show this part and I apologize for that. Let it rest for an hour once the dough is completely kneaded. Here it is at the end of that resting time. It looks beautiful. The dough is well hydrated and it's ready for you to roll it out. You can divide this into 8 or 4 portions, whatever size you want to work with here. I like to roll it kind of into a loose ball, and then you'll just work with one of these at a time, and we're going to start rolling this out. You can do this with, I have my Bosch attachment. You can use a KitchenAid attachment. You can use the manual pasta rollers, or you could also roll this by hand. The same concept applies to both, or to all of these methods. Mine starts with a 7 and I go down to a 5. You can see I'm getting ready to roll through the 5 here. And then you're going to do a tri-fold on your pasta dough, and then you're going to continue rolling it again. This strengthens your dough. It makes it easier to work with. And be sure, because this dough is a little bit stickier, that you put a lot of the semolina flour on it as you're rolling it through so it doesn't stick in whatever method you're using here. Now I'm going to roll this all the way down to a 2. We wanted to make fettuccine with this again. It's my son's favorite shape of pasta. I don't know why. So we roll this down to a 2. And then once it's rolled all the way to there, then I am going to switch out this attachment for the fettuccine attachment. The Bosch comes with 3 different attachments, one a fettuccine, one an angel hair, and then of course the flat roller. Now you're going to see this rolls through in no time at all. It's very fast, very quick. And then with wheat pasta, what I like to do, a lot of times I'll make nests or something like that with regular pasta, but because wheat flour pasta is a little bit more damp, I like to put it over my pasta dryer. You can also lay it out flat on your countertop. Just make sure you put a lot of semolina flour on it. And then once it's done, of course, and I love the feel of pasta, sorry. Once it's done, of course, we're going to start cooking it. Fresh pasta cooks very quickly. This takes about 2, maybe 3 minutes to cook, and then it's done. And I am telling you, if you had been hesitant about trying whole wheat homemade pasta, don't be. The flavor is incredible. The texture is incredible. You have got to give it a try.